Taurus, a bountiful harvest is approaching your life. You will have everything. You are hearing this not by accident, because perhaps you are standing at a crossroads of destiny where even the smallest decision can change your life. Taurus, have you ever felt that something is shifting, but you can't name it yet? Today, these words are not just an ordinary tarot reading, but a sacred message the universe has carefully sent just for you. Because someone just asked about you. It might be an old soul, someone who once walked through your life, or the universe itself whispering, "The time has come." And what's approaching is not something small. It is a bountiful harvest, not just of money or success, but of your soul's abundance. Something very big, very beautiful is coming near. I invite you into a journey of cards, each one a doorway, a piece of destiny, and among them there is one card that is special, extremely important, containing the greatest message just for you. That card will only appear to those patient enough to listen to the end, and I believe you are one of them. Now, let's begin with the first card where your journey starts to shift. The Seven of Pentacles appears as a deep acknowledgement of your persistence. You have planted the seed, you have nurtured it, you have worked diligently with your sincere heart, and perhaps there have been times you've looked at your field and wondered, will anything ever come of this? This card is a gentle whisper from the universe. Believe in what you cannot see. The process of growth always happens in silence. I have seen a Taurus work quietly day after day, without complaint, without needing recognition. They simply believe in the process, in the value of their own labor. You don't rush, you don't chase after fleeting success, because you understand that the most enduring things need time to root themselves deep in the earth. Your patience is not passive waiting. It is a form of calm strength, an unshakable faith that genuine effort will always be rewarded. You have done more than you think. You have persevered more than you believe, and you have lived true to your soul in a world that often favors speed and noise. That is not just effort, it is a sacred form of dignity. Try to look back and honestly say, what helped you not to give up? That story, if you're willing to share it, could be a light for someone feeling lost right now. And indeed, you are not just waiting. You are preparing for a shift in perspective, a shift that will set you free. Stay with me, Taurus, because the second card, the Hanged Man, will tell you something beautiful. That sometimes letting go of control is the only way to find the right path. Dear Taurus, you are used to planting your roots deep, to seeking stability and security. But today, the universe sends you the Hanged Man as an invitation to pause. This is not a card of stagnation, but of enlightenment. It invites you to see the world from a completely different angle. Perhaps you have tried too hard to push things your way, have used all your strength to keep things from changing. But the truth is, sometimes the only way to move forward is to voluntarily let go of control. I used to think that surrender was weakness, until I saw a Taurus, after years of clinging to a safe but unhappy job, decide to stop. They didn't give up. They simply allowed themselves to breathe and reevaluate. And in that moment of stillness, a new path opened up. You don't have to fight everything. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies in accepting that some things are beyond your control and trusting that the universe has a bigger plan. The Hanged Man teaches us that wisdom comes not from action, but from a willingness to observe and listen. Are you holding on to something just because it's familiar, not because it's still good for you? Allow yourself to hang upside down for a while, to let the blood rush to your head, to allow new ideas and fresh perspectives to flow in. You will realize that when you stop resisting, life begins to support you. And once your perspective has shifted, that's when you're ready to build something truly sustainable, a place where you not only feel secure, but also joyful. Get ready, because the third card, the Four of Wands, is opening a stage of stability and celebration that you deeply deserve. After those moments of pausing to reflect, after you have bravely let go of what no longer serves you, the universe now brings you a beautiful gift. The Four of Wands. This is the card of stability, of home, of community, and of celebration. Taurus, you have worked so hard to build a secure life, and now is the time to enjoy its fruits. This card isn't just about a physical house, it's about the feeling of belonging. You are beginning to attract people on your frequency, people who value your stability and your loyalty. This is the time to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. I've seen a Taurus work so hard, they forget how to celebrate. They think they have to reach some massive goal to deserve joy. But the Four of Wands reminds us that joy is in the journey itself, in the solid foundations you've laid every single day. Look around you. There is a community, a family, people who love you for who you are. Allow yourself to rest, to share your happiness with them. True happiness doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from the honest bricks you lay down each day to build your life. The stability you're about to step into isn't just material. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've created a safe harbor for yourself and your loved ones. Do you realize that the seemingly small things, a warm meal, a word of encouragement, a quiet moment in your own home, are weaving an invaluable legacy? And it is your soul, steady, steadfast, and warm. That is the greatest treasure. And when you've learned to celebrate and enjoy what you've built, a miracle happens. You'll realize that abundance doesn't just come from the outside. It's a state that blooms from within. The fourth card, the Empress, will tell you about that. Dear Taurus, there is a kind of happiness that comes from inner abundance. It's when you don't have to prove anything, because your very presence is one of plenty. That is the energy of the Empress, a card ruled by Venus, your governing planet. This is a sacred card for souls who have learned how to nurture themselves. The Empress doesn't just speak of material wealth. She speaks of the fertility of the soul, of creativity, of fully enjoying earthly pleasures. You have gone through the phase of hard work. Now the universe is telling you it's time to enjoy, to receive. The Empress is the embodiment of self-love, of caring for your body, of indulging your senses. I once thought that indulging myself was selfish, but then I met a Taurus who had learned to treat themselves to a delicious meal, buy a beautiful object, or spend a whole day just being in nature. They didn't do it for show. They did it because they knew they were worthy. And you, Taurus, are becoming that person too. The deeper lesson of this card is this: when you care for yourself, you have more to give. Your abundance will overflow, nurturing those around you. Do you remember the last time you gave an entire day to yourself? Not out of duty, but simply to be with yourself. As a friend, a lover, a soul companion. If you've had those moments, however brief, please share them, because those very moments are the light that guides others. And once you've learned to love yourself in abundance, you're ready for the next phase, a phase not of action, but of confronting your own limitations. Because the fifth and most special card, the Devil, is waiting for you. And in this card, you will realize that true freedom comes not from the outside, but from breaking the chains you've placed on yourself. Now we come to the Devil, the most special card in today's journey. It is the card of bondage. But remember, it doesn't appear to frighten you. It appears as a stern teacher, pointing to the chain around your neck and whispering, "You are holding the key." This is not the time to run away. This is the time to admit that perhaps you are bound by the very things you thought were safe. A stable job that stifles your soul, a familiar relationship with no room for growth, or a fear of loss that keeps you from changing. Taurus, you love security, but sometimes that very love becomes your prison. The devil represents limiting beliefs, material attachments, and relying on external things to feel worthy. I was once someone who clung to security so tightly that I didn't dare to dream. I was afraid that if I changed, I would lose everything. But one day, I couldn't stand it anymore. I sat down and admitted that I was not happy. And in that moment, no one comforted me. No one understood, but I felt lighter because I had stopped fighting the truth. Taurus, you don't need to prove anything when you feel stuck. Don't rush to find a reason. Don't force yourself to move on. Stay with that feeling of being chained for a moment, because it's a part of you that you once thought you needed, once hoped for, once held onto, and now it needs your acknowledgement, not to cling to it, but to say a kind goodbye. The devil doesn't teach us to run. It teaches us to face our own shadow with compassion. Every time you dare to face it, an old layer of armor dissolves, revealing the honest heart that longs to live freely. Are you holding on to something that you know is no longer right for you? Perhaps just by seeing it without judgment, you have already begun the healing process. If you feel safe, I invite you to share that. Not to complain, but to let the universe see that you are ready for freedom. Because when you dare to face your chains, you will realize you have always had the strength to break them. And then, after you have bravely confronted your own chains, after you have chosen freedom over false security, what remains is not loss, but an unshakable sense of wholeness. That is the energy that the sixth card, the world, is preparing to give you. Taurus, you have completed a cycle, you have worked hard, learned to shift your perspective, built a foundation, learned to enjoy life, and freed yourself from your limitations. The world appears as a round of thunderous applause from the universe, congratulating you for completing a major chapter. This is not just about worldly success, but a deep inner harmony. You feel that every piece of your life has finally clicked into its rightful place. You no longer feel a sense of lack, no longer have to chase after anything, because you realize that you already have everything you need right here, right now. I used to think I had to reach a certain destination to feel complete. But Taurus taught me that completion isn't a destination. It's the feeling you get when you know you have lived every stage of the journey fully. The good and the bad. You have overcome something very difficult that no one knew about, only you quietly knew how hard you worked. If so, I invite you to share it, because we will celebrate together. Taurus, you have just walked through the land of confrontation and stepped into the land of completion. But this victory is not loud. It is deep. It is steady. It belongs to you, someone who chose persistence, chose authenticity, chose to love life in your own way. And then, in the midst of this fulfillment, you hear something even more important, that the purest joy and the brightest light are not things you find, but things you already are. Let the final card, the sun, whisper that sacred truth to you. Taurus, if you're listening to this part, it is not by accident, because the sun, the card of light, of life, and of pure joy only appears when your soul is ready to shine from within. This is no longer light coming to you from the outside. It is the light you create yourself after having moved through all the deepest layers of effort and confrontation. I used to fear that the light would never return, that after all the burdens, all that would be left was weariness. But then I saw a Taurus smile in their garden, and I understood that the light is nowhere else but in the peace you have preserved even after going through storms. Taurus, you don't need anyone to bring you joy, because you are that joy, the quiet sunshine piercing through life's mist. Not loud, not announced, but for those who can feel it, they will sense the infinite warmth in you. The sun reminds us that happiness doesn't come from what you achieve. It comes from how you touch each moment of life with gratitude. When you learn to say thank you, even for the smallest things, that is when you are living in the light. Have you ever experienced a very simple moment, like when sunlight filters through the leaves, or when someone smiles at you for no reason, and suddenly your heart softens? That is the energy of the Sunday. It doesn't need to be dazzling, doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be honest. And that honesty, when lived fully, is a kind of light that nothing can extinguish. And finally, the sun sends you a message that is very gentle and very powerful. No matter what happens, no matter how you've fallen, you can always return to yourself. You are light. You are a miracle. So today, if no one has ever told you this, let me say it to you. You are doing so well. You don't need to become someone else. You are the light that this world needs. Dear Taurus, after all the messages we've just walked through, perhaps you've realized something. The bountiful harvest is not something outside of you. It is your heart, a heart that knows how to work hard, how to be patient, how to let go, how to confront, and how to believe in the light. No matter how long the night, you will have it all. Not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Someone is asking about you. It might be a person, a soul, or the universe itself, because they know you're about to step into your brightest moment. If this journey has touched you, please share the part that moved you the most. Don't forget to subscribe and send this to someone who you feel needs to hear this right now. Who knows? You might just be bringing light to someone.